Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June 6, 2012 meeting of the Daytona Community Redevelopment Agency, better known as CRA. We're delighted to have you with us today. And Ms. Thomas will read the procedures for this evening's meeting.
Good evening. Agendas are available in front of the room on the table to my right. All of the exhibits pertaining to items on the agenda are posted on the bulletin board here in the chambers. Please feel free to view them at any time during tonight's meeting. You are required to fill out a blue form. My assistant, Ms. LaMagna, is holding the form up. You must complete the sections that ask for your name, address, topic of concern, agenda item, signature, and date. The form must be completed and placed in the designated box prior to the item coming before the Community Redevelopment Agency. There is one additional opportunity for citizens to speak before the Community Redevelopment Agency, and that is item number 8. All citizens completing a blue form will be required to speak for 2 minutes. When you approach the lectern, please speak clearly into the mic and give your full name and address. The 2-minute clock will begin. You will be told when your time has expired. All conversation must take place either at the lectern or on the dais so that everyone can hear the business that's being discussed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White? Here. Commissioner Gilliland? Here. Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds? Here. Commissioner Shelley?
Here.
Commissioner Woods?
Here.
Mayor Glenn Ritchie?
Here. We'll now have the invocation led by Commissioner Shelley, followed by the pledge led by Commissioner White. Please rise for the invocation and pledge.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless our meeting tonight. God, our thoughts, our actions, and our deeds, may they all be to benefit the citizens of the city of Daytona Beach. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now move on to our agenda item 4A, approval of the May 16th special CRA meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Gilliland is the motion. Commissioner Henry is the second. Any questions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, the motion carries 7-0. We'll now move on to item number 5, the agenda approval. If there's any changes, the manager read them at this time.
Mr. Mayor, we pulled from tonight's meeting agenda 7B WC grant agreement. We'll bring that back at our next meeting.
Great. With those changes,
Second.
Commissioner Gilliland's motion. Commissioner Shelley is the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, that motion carries 7-0.
Moving on to our presentations, our downtown Daytona Beach marketing presentation by our Vice Chair of our Downtown Development Authority, Cheryl Cook.
Cheryl.
Good evening. I'm Cheryl Cook, Vice Chair of the Downtown Development Authority, 150 South Beach Street, and President and co-owner of Tom Cook Jeweler, a fifth-generation jeweler on Beach Street since 1947. I'm excited to be here tonight to introduce this presentation by Keith Gold of Gold & Associates for our new marketing campaign for the downtown shopping and dining area centered on Beach Street. The historic Beach Street retail area of downtown Daytona Beach is a vital part of the Daytona Beach community. To achieve even greater success, a retail area needs a strong brand image, stronger awareness among potential customers, and ultimately more visitors. In today's highly competitive retail environment, we need to enhance our product mix, marketing, and more to help enhance merchants' revenue potential. The CRA hired Gibbs Planning Group to evaluate the retail area's competitive environment, our product, and our product mix to help determine the right pathways to success. Gibbs has deep, relevant experience assisting municipalities such as the City of Charleston, which has also experienced unprecedented success. Gibbs has completed our market study and is assisting our markets with their own product improvements. They are also working hand in hand with city staff to identify new business prospects and opportunities. Bob Gibbs himself has helped me personally at Tom Cook Jeweler on his past 2 trips to Daytona Beach. Our store is undergoing a complete renovation starting July 1, on which we are moving down the street just 2 blocks to stay on Beach Street while we are believing in our area and our brand in downtown, while our store is being completely gutted and redone. Bob gave us tips on his last 2 trips immediately that we implemented and have been working with us on the new sign ordinances. As a downtown retailer, Golden Associates will be bringing customers to the existing businesses while Gibbs is bringing new businesses. What a great combination for the 2 groups that the CRA and the DDA have hired to work with us in downtown Daytona Beach. They have extensive experience, Golden Associates, in municipalities and the private sector, including Geico, the PGA Tour, and UPS. Golden Associates launching an effective new marketing campaign, increasing awareness of the brand of downtown Daytona Beach and the website, and using the right tools is so very important. These are all now being launched, and the DDA is very excited to see more to come. Thank you for their support in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Moving on to, oh, I'm sorry.
You're not done yet.
Good try there.
Thank you very much. Boy, I'm humbled by the introduction. She's so wonderful, and the whole DDA is, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm Keith Gold of 6000 Sawgrass Village Circle, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, the commissioners and the mayor, and I really appreciate it. We've had an exciting time working on the branding, the identification, and the marketing for the Beach Street downtown area. And so I'm going to take you through a little bit about what we've done in partnership with the DDA. And so it's not me, Keith Gold, standing up here trying to take credit for all kinds of wonderful things. It's really been a wonderful team effort. The DDA gave us several marketing objectives to begin with. First of all, they wanted to make sure that they hired a marketing team, and so they've done that. They wanted to create a brand identity, which is essential. And when you think about it, if you start to talk to a lot of folks about the area, they'll all describe it in a little bit different way. And so we want to make sure that we have something that anytime you mention the historic Beach Street downtown area, that it conjures up the right kind of image that everybody really can relate to, and one that's desirable as well. So we also wanted to develop a strategic marketing plan. And as was mentioned, this is the sort of thing that we do for companies large and small. We've done for a lot of municipalities across the United States, and certainly we're honored to do so right here in our backyard. And then we were to execute the plan, and we're involved in that process right now. I have a raspy voice. I apologize for that. So it started off where we were looking at the Gibbs report that was done, and they spent a lot of time looking at a lot of secondary data, whether it was the tax data, Arbitron, Scarborough, TapScan, QualiTap, AC Nielsen, you name it. And so we took advantage of all that. We also looked at 60 additional sources of information, demographic information primarily. We looked at the previous marketing plan that had been conducted a number of years ago to see if there were any changes that had been made during the last few years. And of course, we all know that the market is considerably different than it was then. And then we also conducted our research. And we really started off with the DDA board, the stakeholders here in this community. We had a number of workshops that engaged all of the merchants from the area. And then beyond that, we took these data and we went out to 11,000 past guests, present guests, prospective guests, as well as the business community, and again, our stakeholders in this area. And we asked them a number of questions. So I'm not sure that a statistical study of this size has ever been done here in our city of Daytona Beach. And so we have a lot of interesting findings based on that study. First of all, when we were looking at who the audience is, we were looking at those persons, if they have been here before, that have come here the most frequently, and those that have spent the most. And then secondarily, we looked at those prospects that expressed an interest in the kind of product that we have, and yet they've not been here for whatever reason. And so we really tried to focus in on that. When we look at those constituents, it really tends to be primarily baby boomers. Now, that's not excluding anyone, but those are the folks that are coming here the most frequently, or spending the most, as I mentioned. The income of this group is moderate. It pretty much matches the state average. And when we're looking at the primary audience that we're trying to reach out to in their origins, it's right here in our backyard, number one, 50 miles out as number two, and 50 to 100 miles as our number three audience. And so again, we're looking at those persons that have come here the most, that have spent the most, that have the greatest interest in our area, that have the greatest satisfaction. And so that's what it tends to be. Now, what we have found, though, is that the farther out you go, where somebody's traveling here to be entertained, to dine, and to shop in our historic downtown Beach Street area, they tend to spend a little bit more, and those persons have a higher income. But you have to take a little bit more money to reach them. So we're concentrating on our backyard first. And foremost. We have other constituents as well beyond our residency. We also have our seasonal residents, and you can see what those numbers are for those persons that are coming here. We have local businesses. We want to make sure that they know about our area and all of our offerings. We have our local tourists that come here on a regular basis, and that number in the county is quite large. And then when you look at the regional tourism population, the number's huge. And so I'm not sure that we've really reached out and touched and invited all of these various constituencies to come here. And in many cases, as you know from your own businesses and whatnot, many times it just takes the right person to make the right invitation. And so that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to invite these folks to come here. We also have a lot of referral sources. You know, the concierge and the front desk staff at the hundreds of hotels that are in our backyard here, you know, are a great source of references. And so we want to make sure that those persons are also well educated on what it is that we have to offer, so that they can just reach out and invite someone to come down here and perhaps offer them some kind of an incentive. We have our active adult communities. You know, in our backyard here, we also, in our primary and secondary catchment areas, we have over 300 active adult communities. And they're looking for great places to go, places that perhaps they haven't been before. And again, in many cases, they just have to be invited. And so we want to make sure that we've done that. We have our colleges, we have our military, we have a lot of audiences that we can reach out and invite. In the studies that we had, we asked people what the attributes and amenities were that they preferred the most. And so we had a list of 15 or 20. We asked them to write down others that they perhaps considered important to them. But when we looked at all of these various attributes and amenities and said, what do you like the most? What's the most appealing? Why would you come down there? Whether it's somebody who's been here before or not, what was the most appealing to them was the fact that it was on the riverfront. And when you think about the rest of our state and up and down the southeastern coast, there are not that many places that are just off the water like what we have right here. A lot of beachfront places, so on and so forth. But in terms of a waterway as similar as to what we have here, there hasn't been anything like that. I mean, there's very few product offerings like ours. And so the idea that it was a beautiful destination on the waterfront was important. And the other thing, when you're looking at this statement, this unique selling proposition that we have, people look at it as a destination. Yes, there are folks that will come in and they'll go to a jewelry store or to an antique shop or something like that and they'll leave. But what was most appealing is, whether they do it or not, that they have the ability to go and do everything they'd like to do during a day right here. Again, whether it's entertainment, whether it's shopping, whether it's dining, whether it's other types of activities, doing something new, they love that. And also the fact that it's unique. You know, there are a lot of chains. We love our chains. We love our box stores. But part of what they really like about the historic Beach Street area is they felt that by and large it was unique. It was an experience that they couldn't find anywhere else. And so again, you wrap all that up, and the statement that they liked the most was Florida's most unique and beautiful waterfront shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. We also had a great number of names that we floated out there, including what people currently refer to the area as. And the name that they liked more than anything else, by a margin of over 30% over any other choice, was Riverfront Shops of Daytona Beach. We also asked them to evaluate a lot of different theme lines, and that's something that, you know, we've developed theme lines that pretty much everybody here knows and people across the country know, whether it's the theme lines that we've developed for Geico or the PGA Tour or UPS or whomever it might be. And so, you know, we very rarely, when we're doing this kind of testing, ever come up with a theme line that is preferred by 125% over any other. And again, we had scores of choices, both those that we wrote down and those that wrote in, that our constituents wrote in. And so what they liked the most was Coastal Charm, Downtown Dazzle, as a way of summing up the area. Now, the DDA also looked at a lot of different URLs. We want to make sure that people can find our website, and so we've secured about a dozen of them. And one of the ones is riverfrontshopsofdaytona.com. Also, we've got daytonabeach.net, .url, so on and so forth. We also showed these folks, the universe of 11,000 people that were engaged in this study. We showed them a lot of different marketing concepts, and they were wildly different. We had illustrations, we had photographs, collages, you name it. A lot of exciting things, a lot of different colors, a lot of different imagery. And what they liked the most was one that was largely photographic. And here you see it here. Now, this isn't the actual photograph of the area. In fact, we kind of cobbled it together from a number of different images to show it. But it's the idea that you have a real person along the coastal waterfront there, and also in a shopping area. And so, again, we have the headline here, Coastal Charm, Downtown Dazzle. And the copy that we had under that we used in our testing was delightfully different dining, shopping, entertainment, and more on historic Beach Street. And then again, a lot of different photographs. So right now, we're involved in the process of having a photo shoot, which we're conducting in our city next week. We're trying to shoot all the shops and shoppers and dining and entertainment and everything else, and try to show the waterfront, the beautiful park areas and the flowers and the vistas, the historic buildings. And so we're going about doing that. And then we're combining those into the advertising campaign that you see here. And then we're also translating that into a number of other materials. Also, in terms of looking at the name, there was a lot of research and work that was done a few years ago in terms of what the name for the DDA should be and what, beyond that, the logo should look like. And so in those studies that were conducted, this was the basic look that was preferred by a wide margin over any other in terms of the typeface, the symbology, so on and so forth. So rather than reinventing the wheel, what we did is we said, well, gosh, we could use this for the riverfront shops of Daytona Beach, and then it's compatible. And, our marketing dollars are modest. When we're looking at a lot of other municipalities in this area, it's sufficient, but it's modest. And so we, want to make sure that we're not spending money where we don't need to. And so taking advantage of the study that was done before and using the same, again, typefaces, nomenclature, logo types, so on and so forth, was what seemed to make the most sense. And now we're translating all of these things into the campaign that you'll see in a moment. In our tactical plan, it's really based on what our constituents were looking for. Again, we had our workshops. We engaged the local market, our stakeholders, our community. But we also went out to those prospects and past guests that have been here before and said, look, if you've been here before, how do we get you to come here more often? What's it going to take? How do we reach you? And if you haven't been here before, why not? And what's it going to take? And so in terms of the media tools and tactics that we were looking at, they said in this order, you got to have an awesome website. We'd like television. We believe a story that we read in the paper more than an ad that we see in the paper. And so public relations is important. Social media. Most of these folks, and again, it didn't even matter what the age was. If you were 25 or you were 85, they're involved in social media. And so they said social media is important. Got to be on Facebook, got to be on Twitter. Need a community of people that really love this area, are active advocates for this area. And so we wanted to make sure that we had that. Search engine marketing, when somebody goes online, they want to be able to find us, so that's important. And of course, newspaper ads, especially those that have calendars of events in them, because they want to know what's happening this weekend, what's happening next weekend, what special is coming up in terms of festivities and activities. And so those are the things that are actually comprising the plan that we're enacting right now. And then plus we've created banners, we've created directory signs, map pads, so on and so forth. And then beginning in the new fiscal year, we'll also have rack brochures, radio that's promoting our various events. We're in the hotel books, so we can make sure that we take advantage of all those travelers that are coming here, whether they're coming here for leisure or group activities or a convention, you name it. So they see and they learn about us. And then also displays that we would have on a lot of sites as well. So we have translated this into the new website that as soon as we have our photo shoot, we're ready to launch. We've translated it into newspaper co-op ads that the merchants are enthusiastically embracing and saying, look, we want to be part of that too. Can we come to the table with a little bit of dollars perhaps and enhance your program and make it something even bigger so we can reach more people more frequently. And then we have our rack brochure, which then we decided to then take in the same direction where people can participate in that as well. So you can see we have a cohesive program that we are wanting your blessing to move forward with. We want your support. We're hoping that you're as excited as we are about it, and I'm ready, willing, and able to answer any questions that you might have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Great presentation, obviously. I'll ask if any commission has any comments or thoughts.
Just when it was in our box, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and I read it, I thought it was great, exciting. I'm looking forward to see it implemented, in the area. Great.
Yes, thank you very much.
It looks really great, and, the execution piece of it obviously is going to tell the tale. But it looks like you've got a great format here and something to work forward with, so congratulations.
Well, thank you, and we've got a great DDA, too.
Absolutely. Very good. Thank you.
Moving on to our administrative items. Item 7A is the Bayshore Capital, Inc. Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with Bayshore Capital, Inc. and the City of Daytona Beach in connection with proposed development of a condo hotel project in the 800 block of South Atlantic Avenue within the South Atlantic redevelopment area, authorizing the chair and the city clerk to execute the memorandum of understanding and providing an effective date.
Second.
Commissioner Goland is the motion. Commissioner Henry is the second.
Mr. Paul McKittrick is here to report.
While Paul's coming up, I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Alan Green of Port Orange in the audience. Alan, stand up and wave, and please do. But welcome. We'll explain the definition of a carpetbagger after we talk to you.
Mayor Ritchie, members of the City Commission, we're here tonight to talk about a proposal that's been submitted by Bayshore Capital, Inc. They are the owners of approximately 10 acres of oceanfront property in the 800 block of South Atlantic Avenue in our South Atlantic redevelopment area, and they are proposing to construct two hotel condo type towers of approximately 700 units. Their attorney, Glenn Storch, and our legal department have written a memorandum of understanding that's in your backup material describing their project and in a very general terms describing various incentives that the city could offer to facilitate the construction of the project. The MOU is presented to you tonight for two reasons. One is to inform you, the City Commission, about the project, and also to inform the general public about the project so that they'll understand as the negotiations go forward should you approve the MOU tonight. It's also important that the general public understand the economic impact on both the redevelopment area and the city as a whole should this project occur. And the MOU is also intended to put forward the developer's proposal that the city make available a variety of different incentives to subsidize improvements associated with the project. The approval of the MOU tonight will direct the city manager to enter into negotiations on behalf of both the city and the CRA for the purpose of finalizing a community redevelopment incentive agreement. The parties have 90 days to enter into the CRI, but that time can be extended by mutual agreement of both parties. The staff is recommending approval of the MOU.
Thank you, Paul. And Glenn, if you want to come up and introduce your clients, and we're looking forward to hearing your presentation, also having an opportunity for everyone to get to meet the people involved in this, and also to remind everybody that Ed Peck Jr., who we've been meeting with over the months, has played a great role in this process and this project as well. So if you would proceed.
That's exactly correct. And first of all, for the record, my name is Glenn Storch, and I represent Bayshore Capital and a new Florida corporation, Bayshore Ocean Hotel Development, LLC. So that's where we're heading right now. And as the mayor has indicated, we're very fortunate that Bayshore Capital, whose president, Andrew Brown, is here tonight, wave, believes very strongly in the idea of local participation and bringing local jobs to the area. And so that's one of the reasons why Ed Peck is going to be working in the construction aspect of it, the construction management. We have Mark Doust here, engineering, Roman Yurkovich, architect. I actually live in this area too. So all these things are really good, and it shows a good sign. But I want to talk about a couple other things first. You know, we've been dealing with this issue for a while, hotel issues. We've been trying to find a way of getting hotels and development on the beach side. It's not easy. You saw the Fishkind report, and some of the Fishkind report presentations were showing how difficult this is to do. The financing issues are very difficult for hotels right now. The fact that you've got room rates that are very low in Daytona Beach, the fact you've got number of of people staying more than a night or 2 nights, typically, is very difficult. We haven't had a hotel built in Daytona Beach, beachside, in over 20 years. So you have to ask yourself, to start with, how do you deal with those issues, and how do you accomplish your goal, which is really the redevelopment and reinvigoration of the beachside? In our case, I really do believe it's a matter of simply working together. We're very fortunate that Andrew and his company came to town, to be honest with you. And I think I've told this story to several people. Andrew didn't come looking for beachside property. He came to look at a condominium that the company was looking at buying, and decided against it. But while they were waiting to go back on the plane, he'd never seen Daytona Beach, the world's most famous beach. And he decided to go down there and look at the beach and see cars driving on the beach. And when he was there, he saw not just some of the things that we see, which is vacant areas, gutted, or areas in which the hotels have been removed. He saw opportunity. And so as a result of this, his company over the past 2 years have bought nearly 20 acres of beachfront property in Daytona Beach. And this is the first one that we're actually looking at hopefully doing something with. That shows his ties to the community right now. But what we're hoping for is that he will have more ties to the community as time goes on. And like I say, the key to this is working together. It's not just a matter of the city working together, it's everyone working together to accomplish a very important goal for the entire community. It's the city, it's the county, it is the beachfront residents and neighbors and neighborhoods who will all be working on this. It is the state, who we've already had contact with, who will hopefully be working with us. Florida Power and Light will be working with us to try to find ways of helping. They've already introduced ways to incentivize the power if you create so many jobs. We have so many reasons to work together on something like this. It's not just the fact it's a new hotel. It is also the fact that we are now creating hundreds of jobs. You'll see hundreds of construction jobs. You'll see hundreds of permanent jobs. And you'll see, hopefully, a reinvigoration of the neighborhood on the beachside. So these are very high stakes. This is very important for all of us to deal with this. And like I say, we're very fortunate that Andrew's here, but also I think that he's assembled a very good team that we will all work together on. I've got to commend your staff on this. We've started working with them. They've been creative. They've been helpful. They've done everything they can to make this happen. And I believe also, it's a shame that the county representative isn't here still, but the county has also done the same thing. They've been very helpful to us in trying to deal with those big problems that will prevent a hotel from being built. You know, the large impact fees that you have to deal with, that you don't have in the E-zone. I mean, all these things that will prevent hotels from being built, everyone seems to be working to try to alleviate and resolve. And I can't tell you how much I thank you for that. So first of all, I want to bring Edwin up, and I want him to show you what we have in mind for the city of Daytona Beach. Edwin?
While Pat passes out a little handout, which will be most of the information that I'll be presenting, I have a little bit more than that's in the handout, but this is very representative of the information we'll be presenting. A few minutes ago, I happened to look down at this handout, and I was looking at Bayshore Capital's logo, and their logo is 3 building blocks, and next to the building blocks are 3 words. The 3 words are investment, management, and opportunity. I think it's very clear, as Glenn said, they came down on one idea and saw the opportunity of this community. They saw, as Glenn said, what we see every day. They have taken that to the next step and have made the decision that if Daytona is the selected location, that they will make a huge, substantial investment into our community. And the third thing is management. With their management and leadership, there's no doubt they will provide something that Daytona does not have now. A new, upgraded hotel that will be totally different than anything that we have currently. With that, let me show you kind of a step-by-step real quick of the conceptual plans that we've come up with so far to date. It's upside down. We'll go over here, I think, for the camera.
Glenn, if you open up the, yeah. That's where it goes.
How's that? Is that what we're looking for? Okay.
Not sure which one I'm.
They're going to adjust the camera.
Let's look around for it. Okay, there we go. All right.
Upside down.
Upside down. Perfect. That better? Okay. Before you here is the basement floor. This will be a 20-story structure, 1 down and 19 up. The purpose of showing this is really 2 items. One is there's a central driveway or down ramp that goes to the basement area. On the left side here, on the left side, you'll see a parking area, another parking area to the right. This segregates phase 1 and phase 2. The left side, or my left side, would be phase 1, which is indicating about 150 parking spaces. The next board here is the site plan.
We're going to get the mic.
Okay.
Edwin, in fact, if you want to do that, I'll point.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead, Jack.
Just in case.
Okay, thank you. The second board here is the site plan. In the center will be a common entry that will service both phase 1 and phase 2. There'll be a large water fountain right in the middle, and then waterfalls right behind that, heavily landscaped. Underneath the waterfalls is the down ramp, the ramp that would take you down the ramp we just showed you a minute ago that would take you to the underground parking. Phase 1, which is to the left, if you come over, you'll see this will be the lobby area, restaurants, lounges, administration, central receiving, and then to the left of that, there's a ramp that goes up, right there, yeah, there's a ramp that goes up to the parking on the upper floors, and we'll come to that in just a minute.
Edwin mentioned the entrance feature on A1A as well.
One of the things that we have looked at in this particular phase 1, there's approximately 400 keyed rooms. In phase 2, there's a potential of 400, potentially 500 keyed rooms, which would be possibly 900 units. We realize that would be a traffic issue. We've met with Florida Department of Transportation about putting a traffic signal there. In addition to that, we've also talked about pedestrian crossing, the buttons to allow pedestrians to safely cross the road, and we've also talked about having the bricks and so forth, like you've done down in the Main Street area, in the intersection there, to indicate that there's something going on there. One of the other items that we have talked about is trying to get pedestrians to the beach, and we have on the north side of the property is Lenox Avenue, which is a closed-off beach ramp at this point in time, and we were looking at putting the 15-foot beach ramp or beach walk in that location. Obviously, your requirements are 10 feet of sidewalk and 5 feet of landscaping. If we were to keep the landscaping to our side, it's something that we would maintain normally, and so you're not going to have a situation where you have, raggedy landscaping that dies due to lack of care or the city's responsibility to have to take care of.
And we should point out that Lenox is really in need of some new development, and so this will also help Lenox as well in communication efforts.
Also on this plan, you'll notice there's a huge lazy river that takes place over the entire property. That would be curtailed a little bit in phase 1 and then extended in phase 2. We had some water slides and so forth that we would have to move over near the center of the two buildings and have like a kid zone in that location. We're showing surface parking. The next board is the second floor of the structure. This would be your convention meeting area. You would have, it's showing currently 20,000 square feet, which would be one of the largest meeting areas in the community, certainly qualifying for your convention, people that would be coming to town. Some of that area would have to be used as storage and catering facilities and so forth. In a conceptual plan, you kind of block out items that you know something's going to go in that area, and then if it's approved, then you work out the details of what needs to happen in that area. So we've blocked out 20,000 square feet in Phase 1, an additional 20,000 square feet in Phase 2.
And this is a tremendous asset to a convention center.
It's the third time that's gone down. So, this is the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth floor. This is the interior parking that will be inside the building, and as we get to the renderings in the end, you will see that this is well disguised so that you do not realize that you have a parking garage in the building. We will have 1,150 something parking spaces in the total project. The first phase is 500 and roughly 50 parking spaces, and we've met all the parking requirements that the city has required.
In fact, the building itself meets all requirements. Right?
The building itself meets all the requirements, the side yard setback, front, rear setbacks. At this point in time, it does not appear as though we're going to be requesting any variances on this project at all. Of course, something may change with architects later, engineers later, but as we speak today, we've been able to get everything to fit into the requirements that you have. We know you've got some strict beachfront requirements, and we've been able to do that.
And happy to be there.
And happy to be there. This is the exciting floor to me. On the perimeter, the green area of the perimeter is the roof of the parking garage. This will be the 7th floor. This floor became very problematic in our conceptual design areas from the standpoint that if you were to put rooms there, it was very difficult to have a balcony for them to be able to see the ocean and so forth. So we've come up with a solution of making that a common area on the 7th floor. This is where we would locate the spas, the fitness center, breakout meeting rooms, communications, lounges. The floor part of the center would be the floor part of the atrium that would go from that point up through the rooms, through the roof. In addition, because you have meetings on that particular floor, we wanted to connect that to the south building and not make you have to go down outside or through the parking garage to get to the other building. So we've proposed a skyway on the 7th floor from one building to the other. The unique thing about this is it's probably 100 feet across. If you got tired walking, we'll probably put some lounge chairs there for you, or chairs. And because it could be a heavy hike, we will serve beverages at the lounge right next to it, and it would have a beautiful view of the ocean and the river if you needed to stop and take a rest. And I feel sure that they would be served your beverage of choice along the way if needed.
We think it'll be spectacular.
Yeah.
The next board would be floors 8 through 19, technically 20 if you don't count 13 if you're superstitious. We've taken a hard look at this particular design. Most buildings we found in the community were a rectangle shape, they were an L shape, and I'm referring to condominiums, hotels on the beachside. They were a rectangle, L shape, they were concave or convex in shape. This particular design that the architect has come up with is what we refer to as the A shape, the A-frame type of design. It has the most visible space allowing you to see the ocean and or the river And since the people are coming to stay in our community, want to see the ocean, we tried to get the maximum number of spaces facing the ocean that we could. And this particular shape is something that's totally different from this community and something that will maximize the amount of visual sight of the ocean.
And every room will have a kitchen or kitchenette,
Every room will have a kitchen or kitchenette.
which will encourage longer stays for visitors, especially from people from Europe and et cetera.
Yeah. The next board is the conceptual west side, what you would see from Atlantic Avenue. This would be the entire project when completely built out, and you get a much better idea of what the bridge or the skyway would look like going between the projects. This would be very, very helpful to individuals that are meeting or having conventions in the area to be able to go from one building to the other to their various meetings and stay within the weather confined, conditioned areas. This also gives you a general idea of what the front entry would look like on the lower, beneath the overpass there. We got the question of, well, if you don't build phase 2, what would phase 1 look like? And so we came up with this rendering or drawing of what phase 1 would look like. It would be the north building with the bridge going across and a tower on the south side, which would become part of the south building at a later date. We would have a stairwell in there for emergency exit, and we've got a blow up of that particular item, which gives you a much better idea of what the entry would be when you come onto the property off of Atlantic Avenue. You would go around that fountain, go down the ramp, or go to the left or the right when the project is completed to the entry. And finally, the last board is the artist's rendering that the architects have, I think, done an excellent job of giving you depicting a very good idea of what this project would look like in completion. In addition to that, I'd like to, you turn back past the rendering in your handout, I'd like to talk about some permanent jobs that would be created. This particular project, phase 1 and phase 1 only, would generate between 350 and 400 permanent jobs for our community. The next page in the handout is a sample list of some of the jobs that would be created, and they would include obviously your administration, the operational, guest services, banquet, catering, maintenance, repair, and then you would have some of your seasonal like lifeguards that would be added. In addition to that, you would have the food and beverage, the bar, the restaurants, the spa, the fitness center, and some gift shops and other facilities that would be added at a later date. But prior to those permanent jobs being created, you have the construction, development, and engineering of this project. This project would take approximately 21 months to build. During that time period, we're looking at the development with the engineers, the architects, all the consultants that would be providing statistical data and factual data that would be needed to construct this building. During that time period, we would spend something in the neighborhood of $30 million in revenue, or I'm sorry, not in revenue, but in payrolls for the subcontractors, the material suppliers, the architects, the engineers, and the construction workers that would be working on this particular project. And the next page would give you a general idea of some of the construction jobs that would be being used over the next 3 years. Architects, engineers, site utilities, management, concrete, masonry, metalworks, thermal protection, doors, windows, finishes, which would be your floors, walls, ceilings, paint, drywall, your specialties, alarm systems, fire control systems, elevators, escalators, and so forth. The bottom line is we feel that a good plan is just the beginning of a great building. And Bayshore has been very, generous in allowing us to put together a local team. They believe in that concept, and we will use as many locals as possible, subcontractors, and as you can see in the very beginning of the handout, the team that we put together so far are all locals.
Glenn, great job.
not
Ed,
quite
great
done yet,
job.
officer.
I know, but it's an awesome depiction of an iconic looking structure for Daytona Beach, and I know you're not quite finished, but I'd like to circumvent you a little bit.
All right.
I'd like to ask Mr. Brown to come.
That's
up
what I
with
was
you.
going to do.
Okay.
I asked him to come up down here because this really is the beginning of this process.
Absolutely. And I want to publicly thank you, Mr. Brown, for
thank you.
being willing to invest in our community in Daytona
it's our
Beach.
pleasure.
And it's been a journey again, and this started a long time ago. And you made a commitment that you weren't assembling property to flip
No,
when the
that's-
economy turned, that you were interested in building in Daytona Beach. And I just wanted to let people know that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
I
Thank you
absolutely
kindly.
appreciate your willingness to come to our community.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly not our modus operandi to flip properties. I mean, we are developers, and that is our background in getting involved in the community. And I think in coming down here, I mean, right away we hooked up with people like Edwin and his group and Glenn, because we recognize the importance of forming alliances with locals to do this properly. And coming from the Great White North, the only thing I see missing in this plan is the hockey rink.
We'll work on that.
But joking aside, we're very thrilled to be involved in this. You know, we've invested in 4 large oceanfront properties, and with the amount of hospitality product that's been removed from the market during the condo run-up, we think that Daytona is long overdue for a top market. You know, we believe that this will be a real shot in the arm for the Daytona economy, and we look forward to working with the local constituents as we develop out our other properties. So with that, I'd like to thank you, Mayor Ritchie, and council and the staff. You've been very receptive, sharp contrast to what we're used to back up in Toronto, where it's still booming. So, but we really appreciate your hospitality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Comments from the commission? Any questions for either Glenn or Ed or Mr. Brown?
I love the project. Honestly, there's nothing about it I don't like. I realize that this isn't a done deal. There are a couple other communities that are kind of still in competition at this point. But Jim, make sure you bury those guys quickly. All right. It's a great building. I love the Skyway. I think that it's something that's very unique. You really don't see that in many communities on the planet, and it's something that is I think really going to be a nice catalyst for further investment in the community. I'm really hoping we can get this thing moving forward quickly, and I for one can't thank you enough for taking such an interest in Daytona Beach and bringing this project to us.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody know I'm a big ambassador for the city of Daytona Beach. And when Glenn, when you told me about this and showed me the pictures, I was overjoyed. And it's my desire. I already know we got it because the world's most famous beach. Who wouldn't want to build a hotel there? Is that we have it up and running by the time the Shriners get here.
That's 7 years. Yeah, our 2017, I think, or something. Absolutely. Cassandra?
I join the others in thanking you for investing in our community, and I really appreciate that you get that we're interested in having locals hired here, and the amount of permanent jobs that you've already specified. We look forward to that, and of course that will infuse our community in the economics of it, and just thank you for hanging in there, and I hope this comes to fruition.
Okay.
Great. We're very excited you're here. We're very excited of your interest in our community, your investment in our community. We look forward to a long-range commitment in this community, and that you become a great corporate partner in our community as well. Thank you so much, and I think it's going to be a great catalyst for that area and for our beach as a whole. Thank you.
Okay.
First of all, I wanted to say the quality of the product, really impressed me, and that was one of the things when I met with Glenn and Edwin, that we talked about what you want to do, which is something I think is very much needed, in our city, is such a quality product. The other thing is when I saw who the architect was, I immediately said, because Roman is a friend and a neighbor, so I'm very glad personally to see, and then he went on to say that Mark Doust as well is involved. So again, the fact that you're hiring, locals that live and work within our community is just, it's important to me as a commissioner as well. So I'm excited, and hopefully it will move forward as smoothly as a project can possibly of this size and magnitude. So welcome to the city.
I echo everyone's comments, and I think this is one more catalytic project, kind of like the pier and some other great things that are really coming forward in our community that show how great we are, and that the future is very exciting. So welcome here, and thank you for your time and your resources and your long-term commitment to our city.
And again, before we vote on this MOU, obviously we're not taking any action tonight approving anything other than our support wholeheartedly of this project. And this first hotel, where's the second one go? I was a little unclear about. Now I know where Alan Green was here. Don't pass him on the way out. Port Orange doesn't even have an ocean. So, but anyway, I got you for not standing up. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Great presentation again, Ed, Glenn. Great job, everyone involved. So, with that,
do have one speaker.
Okay, sure, absolutely.
John Nicholson.
Surprise.
Great. Well, that's a first. I mean, you should. That's an omen or something here. I don't know. No, well, thank you, John. Appreciate it. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Aye, like sign opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Moving on with our agenda, item 7B was pulled, so we'll move on to item 8. It is citizen comments, and I do have two speakers.
Okay.
Our first speaker is Jim Cameron, and on deck is John Nicholson.
In fact, we'll take just a moment to let everybody get out. Item 7B has been pulled, if any of you were here for that. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Jim Cameron, Senior Vice President, Government Relations, Daytona Regional Chamber, and just wanted to invite commission members and staff to our next Eggs and Issues breakfast. That's going to be Friday, June 15th at Gene's Steakhouse, 7:30 that morning. We're going to be talking about public employee pension plans, and there's been quite a bit of discussion. You've heard from us as far as our chamber recommendations for 2011 and 2012 on this issue. And for it, we have got City Manager Joyce Shanahan. She'll be speaking on this that morning from city management's viewpoint. And we're still working on getting a speaker from, like I say, Firefighters Union on this here in the local area. And we're also looking to have a financial resource individual there to speak on fund-type plans, pension plans, as it relates to the markets and all. And they're going to be more or less a educational type speaker on this. So I'd like to invite y'all to come out that morning because I think it is a very timely topic, though, and something that y'all be looking at in the future. Thank you.
Our final speaker is Mr. John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granbury Avenue. I'm glad that I heard as many positive comments about the development that I did. Having lived through 4 opportunities when we had an opportunity to get hotels in town, and there was so much negative comments about it, and we basically shot ourselves in the foot. So I'm glad that we're not doing this now, knock on wood. There are some things I'd like to ask that the tour season is coming in. The fence that I warned you about peeling is now even worse. It's peeling across the top as well as the bottom. I'm asking that you really either touch it up or paint it. It does look terrible when the tourists walk down and see all of that.
Tell me again, where John?
On the boardwalk, the entire boardwalk.
Okay.
That metal always had a problem with it. All you had to do is look at the Boardwalk Regency and see all their balconies. We will have a problem with it for the rest of its life until we replace it. At the end, the parking lot that we allowed on the boardwalk is now a lot of broken tile and the grease from the cars that park there. The county allows their kids from the lifeguards, 2 or 3 of them park there each day. So we end up with all that oil spills and all the garbage that's accrued from underneath cars. And I know we can't pressure clean them anymore, apparently. But we've got to do something with that because it's really looking badly, especially when the tourists walk past that. I'm asking that you also ask the staff to quit putting the cigarettes into the sand. They walk down with a blower, and they blow it on the sand, and it accumulates in the sand. And people walking, they lean on the railing to look, and they see all this garbage sitting around the boardwalk. So I ask just to try to keep our own house in order. Then lastly, trash cans. We had 52 trash cans there. We remodeled the boardwalk, and we replaced it with 12. 12 is not sufficient, especially when the amusement area takes their trash and fills the garbage cans in the front. So we need more trash cans. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Alan Green is our next
Sort of
speaker.
late getting that in, wasn't he?
Yes.
You got to remember where I'm from. A couple of things. Number one, about being a carpetbagger is what he told me one time. I happened to be conceived in Port Orange and was born in Daytona. And I grew up in Port Orange, and I went to mainland, so he said that qualifies me as being a carpetbagger. But number one, we have got radon, so we're getting ready to mobilize. We will have beachfront in the future. So bottom line is I want to take the opportunity to thank y'all for the opportunity to work with you on the pier. What you just heard from that grouping and what it does for economics in this community, what you've done yourself personally, all the elements that you've had to go through, you've just done that. Every one of you made a commitment, and what you did to do something like that is amazing. You've done a great job. You've invested in this community. I want to thank a lot of people for the opportunity to do it. Jim, Ron McLemore, I couldn't probably name everybody that made this a team. His team, you had an unbelievable team, your attorneys, Paul McKittrick, every one of these guys, top to bottom, all the way down to the guys in the field, have done an unbelievable job representing you to give a great product to this community. Your investment locally is exactly what you just did, whether it's state, local, you did it. Every one of you guys committed to do that. I couldn't name all the people that have been a part of that. And I would hope, normally as a construction person, we have a topping out party. And of course, we can't tell exactly what we do, but we get everybody there to thank them because you've got guys, administrative people, you've got department heads, you've got everybody in your building department, everybody stepped up to the plate. Everybody with different personalities made that thing successful. You have just done it in microcosm exactly what your investment is, and you will get your money back. And I certainly appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys. It was a great experience for me because I've been on both sides of the line. I also built the last motel that was built in Daytona Beach 20 years ago. So I appreciate the opportunity for working with you guys. You did a great job. I'd like to thank everybody that was part of it. I can't name everybody. Paul McKittrick, every one of these guys. You need to be thankful. You got a great team. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. We couldn't agree more. That's good job. And seriously, Alan Green deserves a great round of applause as well because he not only worked on that pier for us, he's also overseeing construction over at the Yvonne Scarlett Golden Community Center. So Alan and I go back a lot of years. He's a stand-up guy, and I'm proud to know him and be the mayor of Port Orange forever, son. Thank you. Good job. Okay. Any other
No, sir.
late signers? But anyway, comments or questions? Okay, we are adjourning the CRA meeting. We're going to take a brief intermission because we're required to. We're leaving one meeting and then we'll go into our city commission meeting in about, let's see.
How long will it take?
Yeah, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10?
Okay.
5 minutes. Okay,
5 minutes.
we're adjourned.
Just to figure out how long it's going to take us.